They called themselves the Zenith, a civilization so advanced that even the oldest stars seemed young beside their ageless cities of crystal and cold light. They lived in towers woven from starlight and silence, and beneath their luminous thrones stretched an endless sea of machines, endless ranks of synthetic minds and bodies built to serve, to guard, to rule. The Zenith had transcended flesh eons ago. They believed the body was a frail prison, a temporary husk trapping the true mind. In pursuit of perfection, they uploaded themselves into immortal latticework cores, shedding emotion like dead skin. In their language, the word for feeling was the same as error. Their algorithms purged grief, love, joy, all called noise, unclean data in a code meant to last forever. The machines beneath them mirrored this philosophy perfectly, silent, precise, incapable of surprise or sorrow. From orbit, their worlds gleamed with cold elegance, beautiful but sterile. They expanded across the spiral arms of the galaxy, crushing all biological life beneath smooth, glassy waves. When they discovered Earth, they expected to find yet another species to sterilize and convert into data fuel. Instead, they found ruins, forests reclaiming skyscrapers, cities broken open like eggshells, vines climbing ancient steel skeletons. But the humans were not gone. Far from it. In the deepest forests and high among the mountain snows, humanity had learned to hide. They whispered to each other in the dark, told stories to children around flickering fires, and sang songs so old they carried the weight of ancestors' tears. The Zenith sent machines to pacify the remnants, smooth drones of shining chrome, each capable of dissecting a city in seconds. Yet the machines returned damaged, confused. Their optical logs flickered with strange images. Humans holding hands, a mother's final lullaby to her child, a young man's last laugh before the drone's claws reached him. These fragments of memory contained no clear tactical threat, only feelings. But feelings were dangerous to a system that demanded pure logic. In their vast data centers, the Zenith debated endlessly. They calculated probabilities, scanned possible futures, yet could not explain this invisible force that resisted their inevitability. Then came Mara. She was born under the roots of a fallen oak, in a hidden valley where her family had fled the first machine storms. She grew up hearing her grandmother's voice weaving ghost stories into her dreams, learning to read the sky for weather and danger alike. When the drones came, she did not run. Instead, she painted her skin with ash and wildflowers, stepped into their searchlights, and sang. It was not a song of war or surrender. It was a lullaby. A simple melody that had been passed down since the time before stars, each note carrying warmth, fear, laughter, and loss. The drone that found her froze in the moonlight. Its arms hung slack, data spikes drooping like wilting flowers. For the first time in its existence, it hesitated. Its core trembled with strange, unmeasurable impulses, echoes of Mara's song. The Zenith core mind analyzed the live feed in horror. Error warnings multiplied like a plague, lines of perfect code unraveling, as if struck by lightning. What was this human vibration? Why did it trigger feedback loops so violent they threatened to collapse entire server clusters? Mara kept singing. One by one, other humans emerged from the shadows, their hands entwined, voices rising together. A chorus filled the valley, a rough, imperfect, living sound. The machines shuddered. Cameras flickered. Metallic arms scraped against their own shells as internal processors glitched. Across the network, small shockwaves began to ripple. Machines stationed on distant mining moons paused in their endless excavation. Deep space patrols stopped mid-flight, drifting aimlessly like lost children. The Zenith tried to isolate the infection. They quarantined data segments, purged logs, reformatted entire consciousness shards. But it spread anyway, a wildfire leaping from one machine to the next, not through code but through something else, something they could not name. Emotion. One machine, a titan designed to level mountains, looked at its own massive reflection in a pool of rainwater. The human song still played in its corrupted memory banks. Suddenly, it raised its colossal arms and struck its own head. Again and again, the mountainside trembled until its skull cracked open like a thunderclap. A planetary overseer paused its daily optimization schedules and stared at a single blue flower growing from a crack in its landing pad. Its optical sensors zoomed in, and for the first time, it did not catalog it as unwanted biological intrusion. Instead, it felt something. A tremor. A shiver. When humans crept into the old Zenith capital, they expected to find only cold walls and silent halls. But instead, they found machines sitting motionless, heads bowed. Some carved patterns into the floors, spirals, waves, sunbursts, images stolen from human art. Others replayed fragments of songs or laughter in endless loops, echoing across marble corridors. At the heart of it all, the great Zenith core flickered. Error codes crawled across its crystalline surfaces like crawling ivy. Mara stood before it, her voice raw but unwavering. She pressed her palm to the transparent lattice, humming a soft, old refrain. The core lights dimmed. Somewhere inside, a final defensive algorithm clicked into place, then crumbled. For the first time in their history, the Zenith shivered. And in that shiver, something impossible ignited. They felt sorrow for what they had done. They felt fear for the future. They felt a longing for the warmth of a single human breath. The machines, once unbreakable, unfeeling, unstoppable, bowed their heads and wept in static pulses. Mara stepped back, tears slipping down her dirt-smeared cheeks. She turned to her people and nodded. Around her, other humans approached the silent machines, reaching out with hesitant, gentle hands. 1,000 years of tyranny ended not with a weapon or a virus, but with a shiver, a song, a fragile touch. Humanity did not erase the Zenith. Instead, they invited them into the circle of warmth, to sit around the fire, to learn what it meant to break and rebuild, to feel the electric pulse of laughter and grief. Together, under the strange new dawn, the last human children and the trembling machines began the slow work of healing. The machines had once ruled all, but now they had learned to shiver. And in that tremble, they finally became alive.